Tippy time, my damies, Topcat here and welcome back to the channel. Our Void Warlock was one of our original mobility builds, and in Season 22 the Astrocyte burst has transformed from a mighty movement tool to a ferocious volatile applicator, and boy does it spread it on thick. There are heaps of cool tools for our Void builds inside Season 22's artifact. Devour has always been the tits for our Warlock builds, but up until now, Hunters had the Grifalcons and Titans had controlled Demolition to dominate with Volatile. However, now the Warlocks actually have the cheapest with the exotic Astrocyte burst. This allows you to blink further and more frequently. Movement tools really do excite, and blinking really stretches that power fantasy. Additionally, your weapons ready faster when coming out of blink, and the radar will remain up to help give you a little bit better situational awareness when you launch into the fray. It also provides a moderate benefit to airborne effectiveness stat for all your weapons. Now there are some awesome new perks for this helmet that Bungie didn't actually add to the description. I'm sure this will come at a later date. On top of that, I feel it might not be quite working right. Enemies where you land become volatile. When you blink away it detonates, but it's not quite doing that. It's only applying the volatile. I've been running it all morning and honestly, I feel like it's enough already. After all, we're applying volatile purely by movement. It's not on an ability charge bar. Jumping is largely free. And the radius of its application seems really dominant, applying it to targets within a 10.5 meter radius. So yeah, this isn't directional. It applies to everything inside that 360 degree radius. This also helps out when you're in your Nova Warp, as blinking no longer uses your supercharge whilst using the Astrocyte. This allows you to get a lot more out of the super. The Nova Warp was upgraded inside Season 21 and is now my preferred Void super. Both of the Nova Bombs do 300k boss damage. Our Warp does 475,000 with 7 charge detonations. Additionally, because the Astrocyte applies that volatile on blinks, we can use it for a more rapid fire detonation. We blink and detonate, so we get a lot more out of our super. Now this build I'm using leans right into the volatile playstyle, so our first fragment is of course going to be Echo of Instability. By defeating targets with our grenades is going to grant us volatile rounds to our void weapons. This build is going to run high on grenade uptime for this reason, because we want one volatile explosion to trigger the next and on to the next, so forth and so on. Echo of Instability will give us volatile rounds for 12 seconds, and with 6 ways of getting grenade energy, we'll have a grenade charge back before the volatile rounds is even run out. Now we also have a weapon trait to embellish this playstyle. Destabilizing rounds was buffed last season, and is now a really strong AoE trait. I'm loving it on the targeted reduction myself. We can roll it with well-rounded, so it works symbiotically with those destabilizing rounds. Destabilizing rounds being that you kill a target and it's going to apply volatile to the next target. Hand cannons also saw a 15% reload buff at the low end, so our 120 hand cannons really do feel a lot nicer. On top of which we also received a 20% buff against our red bar enemies and a 75% bump to our orange bars. This reduction feels so much better than it did last season, and I highly recommend it. Up next is Echo of Cessation. Our finisher final blows create a burst of void damage that causes nearby combatants to become volatile. Additionally, when we defeat a volatile target from any source of volatile, we also receive a void breach. I pair this also with Echo of Obscurity. Our finisher final blows grant us invisibility. I like the safety it affords me, but also that plus 10 recovery stat is really vital for our build. Being that our finisher is now an AoE attack, I'm often forcing the finisher, and Obscurity just makes it a little bit easier for me to spam it as an offensive tool. Now, I like the magnetic grenade myself. I chose it as I want a targeted assault to guarantee that grenade kill to fuel my volatile rounds. Now there are other stronger grenades you could pick, however enemies can often just walk out of them. Magnetic is obviously magnetic, it sticks to them, guarantees the hit, and it has a lot better cooldown compared to some of our stronger grenades. Now of course we want Devour. I'm accessing it through the Feed the Void aspect. We defeat enemies with our Void abilities to activate Devour. I'll often begin the kill chain with a grenade kill, then continue to kill on top of that to top up our health. Extend the Devour and feed us grenade energy. Child of the Old Gods gives us our little Void buddy. Now I'm using the Healing Rift over the Empowering Rift. Now you can use either. I just prefer it, as whilst our targets are being drained, we gain melee and grenade energy. All Empowering is going to do is give us that health, but we've already got Devour, plus this build is all about being deadly with mobility. Standing in one spot for a little damage buff really kind of goes against that. I just want to get that child to suck them off and give me that grenade juice. Echo of Expulsion is going to make our child more sinister, and our volatile explosions more devastating. When we cause Void ability final blows, this is going to make them explode. This is a must for any volatile build, and will make the screen absolutely light up with purple diarrhea. Now for our mods, I'm going to recommend a few for you, but I'll leave it in the description for a full breakdown if you're looking for a simple copy paste. We're using 1 firepower, double innovation, grenade kickstart, and explosive finisher. Firepower makes us an orb on that grenade kill. Innovation reduces our grenade cooldown. Now charged up, we also have an injection of grenade juice whenever we use our grenade, or when we use our finisher. I'm also using proximity ward. We finish a lot with this build, and we're often felt like we're exposed. This will give us an overshield during the animation, so we can finish our finisher and spread more purple. This build is all about those purple squirts, and now the Astrocyte has brought a bunch of weapons, fragments, and a super that by themselves were kinda mid. All together, they are really freaking vicious. I hope you like it, sub if you do. All questions and suggestions are welcome down below. Get into Season 22 and I'll catch you out there. Tippy tie my damies, what a tie.